the difference between a genius and a non-genius is actually awareness. That's right, awareness. Those that become geniuses in their life are actually aware that they have this great gift. And those that don't believe they have it. And this comes through our mentorship, the way we were mentored, the way we developed, the way we grew. And so if you look at the typical surface learning human, which I was one of, was typically like this. Here's the information. Okay. I want you to reproduce it. Okay. I want you to follow a process. Okay. And here's the recipe for the rest of your life. So for most people, we're all given a recipe for life. And the recipe was pretty much this. Here's the information we're giving you. So in other words, this is what we want you to learn. Then we want you to reproduce that information, and those that reproduce it better than most get a better grade and might get a better career. And then we want you to follow this process on how we want you to live your life. We want you to get a job, go to university, and then we'll give you the recipe. And so typically that kind of system and that kind of focus, what it created was safety, security, made you feel safe. What it also created was fear of failure. So most people have this fear of failure. They have this fear, I'm not going to try this because I'm going to make a mistake. They have a fear that they have to over and over analyze things. People will sit on an idea for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, maybe 10 years or 20 years. Have you ever gone to a party where someone says, and this happens to me all the time, where we talk about some person becoming a billionaire now, but I had that idea, this is always the guy that I had that idea 15 years ago. I had the idea of building an electronic car 35 years ago. Actually, I found the formula. Have you ever met these people? And you know what, they probably did. They probably did have these ideas, and they probably did have these great innovative thoughts. But here's the problem. They never had, and this is the key here. This is probably one of the most important things for me that's ever happened. Mentor. I've been fortunate enough that I've had some really good mentors, and this is people outside our normal family. So outside our parents and our family, friends and so on. This is mentors that are outside our normal circle. So I've been fortunate enough that I've had some really good mentors in my life. Especially the one that introduced me to deep learning. Because that changed my life. So in many ways, the introduction to deep learning changed my life. But the reason why I accidentally stumbled on deep learning was because of something called AI, which I've discussed in previous videos. So AI, and me being in the industry of AI, and me needing to keep up with the knowledge, needing to keep up, needing to be competitive with my knowledge in AI, in an industry that's expanding and growing, I needed to become a deep learner. And that happened through a mentor because I was really struggling at the time. But the more I did these deep learning practices and the more I started to feel differently, the more I started to think differently, the more my emotions began to change and become, I almost was becoming, finding a different person that was within this. It wasn't so much that I was changing, I was discovering myself. Because that's what happens. We have all the wealth. We have all the talent right in here. All the wealth is within you. Okay? The genius is within you. But you have to know, you have to be aware of it. And once you become aware that this here has so much capacity, because if you're only using 10% of your neurons, imagine what happens if you start using 20% or 30% or 40%. Because there's areas of our brain that you may have not even utilized or touched for 20, 30 years, or may have never touched before. And all they need is some kind of excitement. And deep learning is not just a learning methodology for me anyway. It's a way of life. You actually start to live your life as a deep learner. You start to live your life with adventure, with taking risks, with having fun. And ultimately what happens, because what we're doing, we're exciting the brain. Because when the brain gets excited on applying to a problem it cares about, so when you're applying an action or a new learning to a problem that you personally have some kind of excitement to, not only do your skills develop, not only do you grow, not only do you get more excited, not only are you starting to develop new ideas and new thoughts and new experiences and all that stuff, but your subconscious side of your brain now is starting to become enriched, starting to find new things, starting to make new connections. And this process just keeps on growing and developing, and if you keep doing that, with the right mindset, what you're going to find is that before you know it, you're not just a different person, but you're actually living a different life. And you're living the life that is getting you closer to that ultimate calling, because everyone has an ultimate calling and everyone has an ultimate purpose. But the problem is, number one, people don't believe they have their inner genius. And number two, if they do believe, they don't have a pathway. They don't have a pathway to getting to it. And I don't really know any other pathway that can get you to finding your inner genius, your inner wealth, your inner abilities, than becoming a deep learner. Because these practices will change your life. And let me tell you a story. And this is how I see the vision of the future, okay? Because I see the vision of the future where you've got AI here, and you've got the deep learning human here. And together, they grow and develop. Now think about this. AI brings in data. We can't compete with that. Humans can't compete with AI when it comes to data. Now, this process of information, to reproduce it, to follow a process and to follow a recipe, AI can do that. Okay, don't kid yourself. Okay, AI can do this, and AI is coming for you. Okay, but this is where the partnership comes into it. This is where you need to become a deep learner, because as AI, because the way I see it, this will help humans become superhumans, because AI here that provides all the data, that does this way better than the human. What we bring to the party is feelings and thoughts and emotions and consciousness and senses, because it's the feelings and the thoughts and the emotions where creativity happens, where the real ideas come, where the innovators shine. I mean, Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, all these guys, they were so emotionally connected to what they were doing. They were emotionally connected to solving a problem. And they failed a lot. They failed a lot. I mean, there's a documentary at the moment with Elon Musk on Netflix, and it's about SpaceX, and you could see the pressure on in his face in one scene where they just failed another multi-billion-dollar journey to space. And you could see he's under a lot of pressure. And this guy put everything to it. He put his whole savings, he put everything he had into this project. But guys like that, they're deep learners. It's about taking that risk. It's about going further. They don't stop. They don't stop until they die. They exponentially grow because their life is an adventure. There's no time to rest. And what happens when you find that in the genius, you just keep going. You just keep growing. You keep expanding. You find a new way of living. And what I think is going to happen, and I hope this is going to happen, you're going to have the best of AI, and you're going to have the best of humans. Data, feelings and emotions combined to create the new ideas, to create the new actions, to create the new solutions of tomorrow. There are things about us that we still don't even understand yet. And at the moment, we don't understand because we don't have enough information. AI can provide that. And at the same time, what we need to do is lift ourselves up as deep learners to know how to leverage our feelings and emotions. Because if you can leverage your feelings and emotions, and it's a practice, and knowing how to leverage that, because your experiences are different. Everyone has experienced something different. No one has ever felt the way you have felt throughout your entire life, because you've lived every single second of your life. So that experience on its own is all the wealth, all the information, all the knowledge that you need. You just need practices to be able to leverage that, to get it out. And that, if you can do that, that's where the ideas are going to come out from. That's where the creative solutions are going to come out. That's when you're going to trial and error and make mistakes and take risks. And this is when you're going to have the perfect partnership with AI assisting you, being your best friend, being your advisor, helping you get at your best. Because the goal is for you to find your best, to get to your best, to become your best, and to keep thriving, to grow and develop, and to grow and develop for the rest of your life. Because it's a growth journey all the way to the end. And this model, the model that predominantly mostly everyone had, following a process. If you think about it, who told you about that model? Who gave you that model? It probably came from the school, probably came from a parent that was given to them. Follow the process, do this, get the job, follow even people that have gone into self-employed businesses, they follow a process. Everything's about following a process, and they make their kids follow a process. Well, as deep learners, we break that process. We kill it over. Because as deep learners, we create our own. We do it our own. We challenge the process. AI can do this. Don't kid yourself. Don't kid yourself about AI. AI is here. It's not some imaginary thing of the future. It is here. And if you want to leverage the benefits of AI, you have to become a deep learner. There's no other way around. If you think you're going to be a surface learner and you're going to leverage AI, you're kidding yourself. And I say this as nicely as I possibly can. You're kidding yourself if you think you can go on your journey as a surface learner, reproducing information, following a process for the rest of your life and getting a small little reward. If that's your recipe and you then want to utilize AI, it's not going to work. And I've tried that. It doesn't work. You need to get to that. And then to get to this, to elevate yourself to superhuman. Because that's the ball game. And that's where you want to be.